Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. We're going to be doing a rope pot holder today. Let's get started.
We're going to be using for the pot holder. I have the rotary cutter to cut our fabric, the cord, either piping cord, or you can buy a wash line, clothesline like I did at Walmart. You want to use cotton because of the heat from your pot. I have clips here that I'm going to use, which I'll show you, and glue. I'm going to use the Base-It glue, but you can also use one of these glue sticks. These are the three fabrics that I've picked out. They're just 2.5-inch strips. We're going to cut them in half. This is the actual pot holder, and let me see if I can get the pot on top of it to give you an idea. And then our rulers, what we'll need last. These strips are 2.5-inch strips. I've got them folded and I'm cutting them in half. Don't need to be perfect about it. Like this one's off a little bit, but that's fine. And then it's easier to handle them by actually cutting these in half. And you'll see when we get over there to the sewing machine what I'm talking about. So I will finish cutting the other ones and we'll meet up over there at the sewing machine. Now I have my sewing machine with green thread. I have a new bobbin in there. I threaded it, although it like tucked itself up underneath there. I've put my stitch on a zigzag stitch. I put my width at 6, which is the widest, and then I put my length at 1.6. I also went ahead and decreased my tension down to 3.4. And another thing that I did was I went from a standard size universal needle 12, and I put a 14 in there. You could also put a 16. The first thing I'm doing is I am getting a little bit of glue here on the tip of this fabric because I'm wanting it to stick on my rope here. So I lay it on there halfway, cover it up. Then I fold this over, and then I begin to fold it away from me, pull it back up underneath, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cover this rope with this fabric. Now, let's see if I can get it started. There we go. Hopefully my hands aren't in the way. It's kind of tricky at the very beginning, but just be persistent with it. And I always take the fabric, and you can come either way you want, either to you or away from you, but I find that it's easier for me to go away from me. And all I'm doing is just wrapping this around. Now this is where I put my first clip to hold that while I'm wrapping this. And I'm wrapping and pulling at an angle to cover it. The more of an angle that you can do, the less fabric you use. I only used 3 strips of the 2.5-inch. Then I cut them so they're approximately 1 1/4 inch. And then the length of the fabric. And then I cut that in half because otherwise this strip would have been double the length and it would have been harder for me to deal with it. And as you do this, your rope will twist like this. Just untwist your rope. That's all you got to do. It's very time consuming. Just take your time. It doesn't have to be perfect. You'll have bits of thread. Like my last fabric was cotton, and this is a batik, and this one isn't shredding as bad on the sides as the other did, but don't worry about it. Just keep wrapping. And then when you get down here to the end, I'm going to show you what I do, and then I'll turn the camera off and I'll work on it because it's going to take quite a bit to get it. And then when I get ready to sew it, I'll give you an idea what it looks like and then how you're sewing it. So now if you use the glue stick, it'll be a little bit messier. Your fingers will get glue. You'll have to constantly wipe your hands, and wherever you put your product down, like I just did it right here, my little glue,
Okay, so now I just come down here. I'm going to take some more of this glue. Let's see if I can turn it this way to the camera. And I'm just wiping it on here. That's all you're doing, because you want it to stick for you. And then when you turn it on itself, that's where I put another clip in. Okay, now untwist my rope here. I grab my next piece, which is the same color. Find out which side you want to use. Put a little glue on it again. And start rolling here. There you go. We're gonna roll that up like a hot dog, or actually like a damp wash that you're gonna iron and sprayed. That's what they used to do a long time ago. This is where you put the clip again, and then just go ahead and go through the same process and wrap this one. Now you can wrap as many of these as you want, whatever length you want. So I'm going to stop here, I'm going to wrap it up, and then I'm going to tell you how to get started on this. Alright, I put a different thread on here, and I changed my tension back to normal, which on my machine is 4. I've left the length at 2.5, and the width is now 6. I couldn't get it to catch the thread, and I tried a practice sheet, and it works now, so I'm not quite sure what was going on. Let's see if I can get it started. That worked. So what I'm going to do is I turned it, and let me bring the camera over here and show you. Hold on 1 second so you can see it. This is a picture. It is showing me how I went straight down. Let me get my pointer here so I can show you. Try not to bump this camera too much. So I went straight down here and zigzagged. Now I'm trying to keep my foot right between here as I come down the zigzag on both sides of these. I'm hoping you can see it at this angle. If not, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back down here the way I came and go around this. Up. It's gonna go over. There we go. I'm gonna come back down here, turn that around, and I'm coming straight down. Let me see if I can move the camera over here. And as you note, I'm just slowly turning this around as I sew down it. And that's all you're trying to do. You're going to constantly go in a circle. Just remove your clips when you come up to them. And you can always go over this again. Once you get it done, you can go through the whole thing over. It'll just get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. Take your time. I can move this around a little bit here. Help you see it any better. Here's how big it is with the first color. That's how much is done. And now we're getting into the second color. Coming on to the third color now. And this is more of an oval instead of a completely round one because of the way that I started with it. And we're coming up here towards the end, and then I'm going to show you how to end it off. And we're going to try to end it off like we did at the very beginning. I'm going to cut it off here. And then we're going to want to wrap that end. Let's see if I have enough to do it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue on it so it'll stick better. Let's see what we got here. Go ahead and taper it and then turn around and bring it right back down on itself for the tail end. Let's get some glue. There we go. Fold it back on itself. Roll it a little bit just to tuck it in. And I need my pick to kind of hold that. There we go. Let's back it up a bit. Come forward. Take a look at it. And there we have our pot holder. Looks pretty good, huh? Well, that takes care of that pot holder, the rope pot holder. I hope you guys tried this with me and made yourself one. And see you next time. Bye-bye.